What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media. The Baltimore Ravens are 6-3. Chuck Clark is an absolute idiot, and Roquan Smith is a great addition to the Baltimore Ravens defense. Highs and lows of this game, basically right there. But also shout out to Mr. Justin Houston because he played an absolute heck of a game. 2.5 sacks, interception. Huge. I mean, it's always nice playing Andy Dalton. I just got to say that. Always enjoy it. It's always a good time. Joshua, how you feeling after this game? I don't know if I'm frozen or if you're frozen. I think one of us is frozen. Hold on. Now I got to check. Okay. Joshua's frozen. Okay. While Joshua gets unfrozen, let's talk about this game. Shout out again. Shout out Chuck Clark, pass interference. Great player. Just a great player. He's just someone that's just like I'm so frustrated with Chuck Clark. Like, it's just so annoying. Like, he just makes all these mistakes that it's just like inexcusable mistakes. I'm fine with guys messing up, like whatever, but it's like, dude, not tackling someone and just being like, oh yeah, it's out of bounds. Like, no, you can't do that. Like, the pass interference is fine. I don't actually care about that. Yeah, it's annoying, but like whatever. But not tackling someone when he goes out of bounds, that's pretty frustrating. Any dropped picks this game? No, not that I can think of. There were missed opportunities for picks on like the pass interference, and also, yeah, there's a reason why I say we don't need to re-sign Marcus Peters. Like, I think he's fine, but I think people overrate him severely. He's not a good tackler whatsoever. And that's kind of my thoughts on him. He plays, extreme bail coverage most of the time, and so guys are just wide open underneath every time. But see, here's the thing. The Ravens aren't a team that are going to be putting up 40 points per game this season anymore. Like, that's not something we can expect. This is the type of game that I expect every week. This is like the best type of game that the Ravens can play. Like, I've said this, since Bateman got hurt, they're going to win. It's going to be ground and pound, physical football, relying on the defense and running and controlling the clock. That's exactly what they did. They went out there, they ran the ball well, they succeeded, and they played some great defense. I mean, really, they allowed 6 points in this game, outside of Chuck Clark being a, moron. But, that's the type of thing that we see this team needing to have. And, we don't have Mark Andrews right now. Deshaun Jackson, he looked decent. But, overall, I think we definitely saw a boost out of Roquan Smith because we didn't see Alvin Kamara destroying the Ravens defense. I mean, we saw it on 2nd and 1. Roquan Smith stuffs him in the middle. 3rd and 1. Roquan Smith stuffs him in the middle. Those are the exact type of plays that we were expecting out of him. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Wi-Fi issues.
There we go. Joshua, how you feeling about this game?
I was going to ask you before, my Wi-Fi kicked me out. Do you feel like Justin Houston was going to make it back on the bus tonight? Reason I'm asking, he's playing a little bit too damn good for his age.
He may get a call to do some tests tomorrow morning from the NFL.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Somebody got some if they could donate to him, some clean, some stuff, help the man out. But I mean, outside of that, man, honestly, I wish we would have, passed the ball more efficiently. But like we said earlier, that Saints defense, they was coming with it. They wasn't scared. They was ailing too, but they were still coming with it, man. But I will give it up to them. They were running the ball down their throat. And Kenyon Drake was looking is Kenyon Drake is looking more and more what Devontae Freeman was to us last year. So I mean, it's a plus.
Oh no, he was looking way better than Devontae Freeman. I mean, he was hitting some cuts, and I was like, okay,
yeah, of course, but I mean, still, Devontae Freeman came alive around this same time of last year, man, and that's the best thing. That's honestly, the games are getting colder, they're getting long.
Can you hear me, Joshua? Well, while we wait for Joshua to reconnect, I want to bring up something that I think is just like the benefit of the Ravens team and the way that they're playing right now and the way that they need to play is it compounds upon itself. They need to play hard physical defense, which they showed tonight. That's exactly what they can do. And they need to ground and pound on offense. That is building an identity, that is building culture, that is building momentum. That's huge in all aspects. And they go out there and, we see Calais Campbell spearing Andy Dalton. We see big hits, except for Chuck Clark. Throughout this entire game, they played physical football and they ran the ball and they won the battle of the trenches. They didn't get to 200 yards. They were just short of it. I think they finished with like 195 or 185 or something like that. They were very close to getting it. But I mean, they just played physical. They played with a ton of heart, and that's what the Ravens need to do. Play with physicality, because that's Lamar's strength, is using that energy and using that motivation. And so it's just like, yeah, I think the Ravens can beat any team in the NFL because they keep the ball away from every team, no matter who they are. No matter how good your defense is, the Ravens are going to be able to hold the ball for a long portions of the game. And so it's going to be a lower scoring game no matter what. Whether you're playing the 07 Patriots or you're playing the 2013 Denver Broncos, whatever it is. And it didn't matter. He wasn't out of bounds. And also all scoring plays are reviewed, so you never have to challenge a touchdown. He wasn't out of bounds, guys. He wasn't out of bounds. He was close, but he wasn't. And yeah, they're all reviewed, so they would have said if it wasn't.
All right, third time should be the charm. Who knows?
We'll see.
But how do you feel about the debut of Roquan tonight?
Exactly what we needed. I mean, it allowed Patrick Queen to blitz. It allowed Patrick Queen to play off.
Yeah.
And Roquan looked amazing. He made a play on Alvin Kamara, came out of the backfield, ran short. And it's like one of those plays where Alvin Kamara is great at. Catches the ball. Roquan Smith instantly tackled him, wrapped him up at his legs, and brought him down for a 1-yard gain. And it's like most other linebackers, they're not close enough to him. They can't get the tackle. That's a first down. That's a big play. He was able to hold him to that short yardage. And that's something that we need so much in this offense.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's such a massive dude. Like, as soon as he wraps his arms around you, it's like reckless abandonment at that point. I mean, it's definitely good to see us getting that Mike linebacker that we've been waiting for since the retirement of Ray Lewis. I mean, CJ Mosley had good moments, but I mean, let's be honest, CJ, he was okay.
Yeah, and something that like people are like, oh, Isaiah Likely didn't play that well. I think Isaiah Likely played fine. Lamar couldn't hit Likely.
Yeah. Did I realize how much Lamar was getting pressured?
Yeah, like the Saints defense is tough. Lamar was trying to make plays. He was missing them. Likely had a diving attempt on like 3rd and 10. The screen pass to Likely was thrown, I believe, behind him. That was just a weird play because it didn't look like the Ravens were very set and were ready. and they called it. It was super quick. And then Lamar missed him on the crosser over the middle of the field, overthrew him. So it's like, when Likely needed to make a catch and it was thrown to him, he caught it, which was one opportunity, really. But yeah, Kyle Hamilton, great game. Once again, Ravens fans are fuming because Kyle Hamilton plays well, even though he doesn't have a sack or an interception or anything like that. It's like, hey, when the ball came toward him, he made a play. He wasn't the guy standing there, with his hands in his pocket saying, well, good afternoon, sir. I feel bad for you. You're losing by 3 touchdowns. Don't mind if I allow you to walk right down this sideline. It's looking real nice. Here's the red carpet. Here's a free touchdown.
They definitely have all around. The only thing I don't like about having our first rounder is on special teams.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I mean, outside of that, it's cool. He's still getting experience. He's still getting the play time. It is what it is.
And this is so true. Calais speared Andy Dalton. It was fantastic.
Andy Dalton didn't know. I don't think Andy Dalton knew where he was at that point.
Yeah. I mean, he got sacked 4 times. Justin Houston, 2.5 sacks. Calais Campbell, 0.5 sack. And then Marlon Humphrey had the other sack.
Yeah.
And it was like, first play, it was like Tyus Bowser off the edge. Shout out to, we don't talk about it enough. Mike McDonald is really coaching this defense well. He called that blitz early in the game for Patrick Queen to pick, and it allowed, I believe this was a Justin Houston sack up the middle, and he picks off the left guard, and boom, allows Justin Houston a wide open get. Like that's scheme. That's not just, but like that scheme, allowing him to be able to make that play. And Mike McDonald has really designed a physical, hard-nosed, great defense. The Saints had negative yards on 3rd down.
Yeah.
They had 243 overall yards. And it's just like, they looked lost. And the only times they drove the ball were when the Ravens were saying, hey, we're not going to give up a touchdown. End of the first half, Ravens played the typical, hey, we're not going to allow a touchdown. They march down the field, they kick a field goal, which I get kind of annoyed with, but at the same time, I get it. Better to not allow, the 60-yard bomb. But then at the very end of the game, I was like, oh, yeah, they got a big touchdown because, again, Chuck Clark is an imbecile. Like, just a complete moron. God, I hate Chuck Clark. Like, he's so bad. Like, it's so annoying. And it's like, oh, but he calls the defense.
So if you had to rate top 3 shit lists from the Ravens right now, who would it be?
It's Greg Roman, number 1. Number 2 is Chuck Clark. Number 3 is, I don't know if it's John Harbaugh. It's probably John Harbaugh. Oh wait, no, it's Marcus Peters. I don't even dislike Marcus Peters, but Marcus Peters is just so annoying. Like, 'cause it's just like he makes so many mistakes, and it's just like, dude, what are you doing? Who's this? Is this Jake who's using the Worst Take Network account? Is that Jake? I'm assuming it's Jake. The Worst Take Network is my email, guys. A few people have access to it, but it's my email. I don't know who it is. It could be Jake, or it could be Matt, or it could be Mike. I don't know who has it. Craig turns into Cam Cameron when we're up.
Yo, what they're gonna say? At least they kept on scoring.
Marcus Peters had a play where he stopped covering the defender because he got beat so badly, and Andy Dalton missed the throw to a wide open touchdown.
It was number 1, right?
Yeah, Marquez Callaway. And Peyton Manning goes, it looks like Marcus Peters went out there and said, hey, you can't run that route. Like, that's not allowed. Like, he literally just saw the throw and was like, nah, I'm done. Like Marcus Peters is not good. Marcus Peters, Marcus Peters is not good for the amount of hype that he gets. Now, I would want Marcus Peters over Brandon Stevens. I would start Marcus Peters over, Pepe Williams. I would start Marcus Peters over a lot of cornerbacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
But Marcus Peters gets hyped up like he is, the same Pro Bowl, All-Pro Marcus Peters that he used to be. It's like, okay, no, he's slower.
I feel like
he can't tackle. He plays way off of everybody because he's too afraid to get beat deep. And he just kind of complains a lot. I don't know if it's hands down. Yeah, Pepe's kind of nasty. He's a ball hawk, except he doesn't get interceptions and he allows wide open players consistently. Marcus Peters is not the same player that he was 3 years ago or 5 years ago, right? Like, he gets compared to Trayvon Diggs and things like that. He's not Trayvon Diggs anymore. Trayvon Diggs works because, yeah, he does bite, but he also gets a lot of interceptions. Marcus Peters doesn't get interceptions anymore. Like, he doesn't. He's not fast enough anymore. Quarterbacks have learned how to play against him. He gets burned way more often than it's worthwhile to have him be a ball hawk. That is why they have him play off consistently. Because they said, we can't have you playing press anymore because you get burnt too often. And so he plays off and oh no. If you're going to get mad because I think Marcus Peters is bad, then you can get mad. Like, it's fine. Like, Marcus Peters is not one. And also, don't be saying he's a good tackler. He's not a good tackler. He's a terrible tackler. He's known as one of the worst tacklers in the NFL. And the problem with him is, again, I don't have a problem with Marcus Peters, but the hype that he gets from so many Ravens fans is this idea where it's like, oh yeah, he's just going to go out and get you, 5 picks in a season. Like, he was doing that young in his career, right? I mean, I can pull up his stats right now. He gets targeted. It's not like he's a player that's not being targeted, like Marlon Humphrey, where it's like, okay, he's not getting opportunities. Marcus Peters gets opportunities. He has 1 interception this year. And the way that he plays, he would need, 4 or 5 interceptions on the year to make it worthwhile, right? But last year he had a significant injury. Guys. He didn't play last year. He looks slower. He looks like he's not as twitchy. That's going to hurt your skill set. Benjamin, this is exactly true. It's like, just because I'm saying he's not a good tackler doesn't mean he's never made a tackle in his life. Like it's fine. But if you look at the Ravens defense, he's more than likely the player that gets beat. Yeah, it does take more than a year. But the problem with Marcus Peters is that he's a 30-year-old cornerback. He's a 30-year-old cornerback, and you want him to get back to, 25-year-old speed. He's not going to do that. Like, yeah, he does allow big plays all the time. And it's like, he allowed big plays tonight. I mean, and Benjamin, Marlon has not given up a touchdown this season. Shout out to Marlon. It's just like, it's fine. Like, I talked about it in the offseason. I don't think the Ravens should extend Marcus Peters. I felt like trade. I said this in the offseason. I said the Ravens should trade for Roquan Smith, not re-sign Marcus Peters, and sign Roquan Smith instead. It's like that's fine. And I don't think Marcus Peters did his job tonight, Vince. I mean, like, you look at it, I think he probably was the guy in coverage on 5 of Chris Olave's 6 receptions. He allowed the big touchdown. I don't know who scored the touchdown. Was it Troutman? Jawan Johnson. He allowed the 41-yard touchdown from Jawan Johnson. Like, yeah, like Iceberg, I think this is fair. Like, if they give him a vet min, like, I'm fine with that. Like, I have no problem with having Marcus Peters on the team, but like I'm not paying $10 million for Marcus Peters for a inconsistent. Again, like, I'm fine with having a ball hawk. And yeah, I King Vino, I think this is a really good point. I think the Ravens have to draft corner or wide receiver with their first pick. So yeah, I think this is fair. He didn't give up a touchdown. He was the guy that missed the tackle. That is giving up a touchdown. He was the guy in coverage, then missed the tackle. That's like, yeah, Chuck Clark also messed up, but let's get off Marcus Peters for a second, though. Marcus Peters is best with a safety over the top. You don't want a quarterback where you need to have a safety over the top every time. That's the problem. Remember when Marcus Peters played against the 49ers and his excuse for giving up a touchdown was that he turned the wrong way? That's not a good excuse. Oh yeah, Chuck Clark completely messed up. Iceberg, yeah. Chuck Clark's number 2 on my hit list. Roquan lived up to the hype. I fully agree. He just frees up the defense so much. Yeah, no, I mean, like, watching him, it's like, okay, that's the type of defense the Ravens need to play, is that physical type of defense. Like 100%. Also, yeah, Marcus Williams is a monster. Like, yeah, I mean, it's just like, again, it's just like Marcus Peters. He very clearly does not look like the same player that he used to be. Like, he's not the same player that he was in 2019 when he came over to the Ravens. I think that's very clear. I think it is diminished. Even though he had 4 interceptions in 2020, he didn't have the same impact that he did in 2019. I mean, I'm purely out of curiosity. I just want to see Marcus Peters' PFF grade. I don't like PFF. I think it gives bad grades. Right now they have him ranked as a 60. I just wanted to see targets, 36 targets, 24 receptions allowed. Right now they have him graded at a 60. Again, I don't take too much stock into PFF. I think it's a bad grading system, but the thing about gambling corners is they have to get interception. When was the last time Marcus Peters got a one-on-one interception? Like, where he gambled? Like, his interception that he got this year wasn't on a gamble. It was on a bad throw that he was playing off in coverage and it went right to him. He didn't need to tackle him. He needed to push him 1 yard out of bounds, which you would expect a cornerback to be able to do. And yeah, Iceberg, I agree. PFF. Josh Norman better than Marcus Peters. Speaking of bad throws, what's up with Lamar? I mean, right, the problem is Lamar has no chemistry with any of the players out there on the field right now. I mean, Isaiah Likely is a 4th-round rookie that, like, he's not in the first team offense, or at least wasn't for all of training camp and all of practice. So it's like Lamar's working on getting that chemistry with Deshaun Jackson and Duvernay and Demarcus Robinson. Like, you know, obviously you want him to hit those throws, but the chemistry's not there right now. And that's very clear. Marcus Peters isn't going to grab 5 picks in their last few games. Like, Marcus Peters looks a step slower than he used to. Like, he looks a step slower. I think that's very clear, is that he looks a step slower. Andy Isabella is still in the practice squad. I'm trying to not talk about Peters, but everyone's just commenting about Peters. It takes a while to come back after an ACL. Yeah, but most players at a skill position, tearing your ACL and coming back at 30 years old. He's 29 in like 300 days. He's going to be 30 really soon. He's going to be 31 next year. Like, do we want to bring back a 31-year-old cornerback that needs to be athletically able to get interceptions? Yeah, the D lineman super dominant. It was really good to watch. Especially like when they started blitzing, they were using Patrick Queen and then using Roquan Smith and just everything about that. I'm going to say, I don't think that Saints offense is actually very good. I just think that teams are kind of stupid when they play against them. Like, they try and play them like they're really bad, when instead it's like, okay, you have to play them to stop Kamara and you have to play them to stop Chris Olave. You do those 2 things and you make sure that when Taysom Hill comes in, you stop the quarterback run. Those are the 3 things that you have to do. If you do that, you're going to easily defeat them. Indeed, this is 100% true. I don't know if Taysom Hill looked much better than Dalton. Did Taysom Hill even have a completion? Maybe he had 1. Yeah, he was 1 for 1. I don't really know if that's a large enough sample size to do. And where was Duvernay? I mean, the problem is everyone's focused. Duvernay was like Duvernay was covered. Also, Greg Roman sucks when it comes to designing pass schemes. I mean, he basically runs like basic 5th grade level route concepts. I mean, he runs 2 routes. He runs an in and he runs an out. That's it. Like, he doesn't run slants. Rarely utilizes motion with wide receivers. If it's motion, it's going to be a tight end or a fullback. They did utilize the motion wheel route with Deshaun Jackson, but again, wasn't able to get open. But yeah, I mean, they're focusing on Devin Duvernay. Signed Sean Murphy Bunting. I think they should try and draft one. Like, that's just my thought process on it. Like, there's a lot of really good corners in this draft, and the Ravens can use like their first pick on a corner, their second pick, which would be a 3rd rounder, I believe, is like just use a pick on a wide receiver in the 3rd round. I don't think Likely got nervous. I think Lamar was more nervous. Lamar was the one missing throws to him. Like, Likely had 1 drop that was, kind of bad, and that was the 3rd down screen pass. But again, that was kind of a weird play. It looked really forced. Like, they kind of weren't ready. And then Lamar threw it like, I think I would have to rewatch the play, but When I watched it the first time, it looked like Lamar threw it behind him, but he might not have. He might have thrown it in front of him. It just looked kind of awkward. That's facts. That's facts. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I think Lamar does pull a lot. Like, Lamar keeps it way more often. But there are also situations where it's like designed to look like Lamar can pull it, but it's still just like, hey, hand this off no matter what. I think I'm probably, guys, I got to go to work tomorrow, so I'm probably going to answer one more question before heading out. Will G, who's the one do you think would complement our offensive style not on the team right now? I would say the best wide receiver the Ravens could have would be Cooper Kupp. Because Cooper Kupp is probably the best blocking wide receiver in the NFL. And he's a really good player in the intermediate game. Problem is, I don't think any wide receiver is going to like fix the Ravens because of how simplistic their offense is and how their routes are designed. Like, yeah, they may be a little bit better with, improved wide receivers, but the route concepts are not to be desired with Greg Roman's scheme. Like, if the Ravens want to have a good passing game, it's not about getting new wide receivers. It's about changing offensive coordinators. And I think they've made the decision they don't care about the passing game. Instead, they want to focus on the run game with Greg Roman. And that's kind of what, we got. But all right, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming through. The night games are kind of tough for the post game streams, and it's kind of unfortunate Josh was having internet connection issues. But thank you guys so much for coming through. Subscribe for Daily Ravens content. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be recording a podcast and stuff like that. So if you have any questions, I'll put out a post on the community page, seeing if you guys have any topics you want us to cover, and we'll definitely do that. But thank you all so much. We'll see all of you again tomorrow.